In the mansion of one of the richest CEOs in the city, silence reigned like a curse. Behind walls of marble and gold, where chandeliers sparkled brighter than the stars, there lived a boy who had not eaten a single bite of food in weeks. Every morning, the table was laid with silver platters stacked high, roasted steak dripping with juices, steaming bowls of soup seasoned by the finest chefs, desserts sculpted from chocolate and gold. And every morning, the boy pushed them all away. His tiny hands trembled, his lips were pale, but his eyes were stubborn. Doctors came with their stethoscopes, nutritionists arrived with plans and powders. Chefs boasted of recipes from Paris, London, and Dubai. One by one, they failed. The father, a man feared in business meetings, now sat helpless before his only son. His voice, once commanding, cracked with desperation. "Please, my boy, just one bite." But the boy only shook his head and whispered a single chilling word. "No." That word echoed through the mansion halls like a death sentence. The CEO slammed his fists on the table, shattering a golden goblet. Rage burned in his chest, but it couldn't hide the terror in his heart. If his son continued wasting away—
Just then, Maya, the new maid, stepped into the dining hall carrying a tray. Her steps faltered when she saw everyone staring at the boy as though he were some untouchable prince. She had only been in the mansion for a week, and already she could sense the tension that followed Ethan everywhere. The head butler leaned closer to her and whispered, "You're wasting your time. He hasn't touched a single meal in days." But Maya noticed something strange. Ethan's eyes weren't glued to the food. They were fixed on her. Every move she made, every step she took, he followed with unblinking attention. When she placed the tray on the table, his little voice broke the silence. "I'll eat, but only if she eats first." Gasps filled the hall. The other staff exchanged nervous glances, whispering under their breath. No servant had ever been singled out like that, especially not by the heir of the house. Maya froze, confused. Why her? What did this boy want from her? And more importantly, what would the CEO say if he found out? Maya's hands shook as she held the fork. Her heart pounded, not from hunger, but from fear. This wasn't just a boy. This was the CEO's son, and she knew the consequences if she refused. Ethan's eyes didn't waver. He watched her, expectant, silent, almost commanding. The room seemed to shrink around them. Every staff member, frozen in place, waited for the impossible to happen. Slowly, Maya brought a bite of the steaming food to her mouth. She chewed carefully, pretending calm, though inside her mind raced. Ethan leaned forward. His little hands rested on the table. The moment she swallowed, his eyes lit up like the mansion's chandeliers, brighter, warmer, alive. He whispered, barely audible, "Now you can eat with me." The boy slid a small plate toward her. It wasn't the fancy silverware of the mansion. It was plain, humble, but something about it made the air shift. The smell was comforting, earthy, familiar. Maya realized the secret wasn't the food itself. It was the love it carried, the patience, the care, the tiny pieces of home she had poured into it without anyone noticing. And then she saw it. Ethan took a careful bite, then another. His small fingers clutched the plate, almost afraid to let it go. Every bite seemed to revive him, not just his body, but something deeper. The staff couldn't believe their eyes. The boy who hadn't eaten in days was finally eating. and all it took was her. But as relief washed over Maya,
The CEO stood frozen, staring at his son and the maid. Rage twisted in his chest, but it fought a losing battle against something he hadn't felt in years: fear. "Do you think I will allow this?" he growled, fists clenched so tightly his knuckles whitened. "A maid, daring to feed my son? This is an insult to everything I've built." Ethan's small hands trembled, but his gaze never wavered. "No," he said firmly, "it's not an insult. It's what I needed, and if she leaves, I won't eat again." The CEO's breath came in sharp bursts. His pride screamed, yet every fiber of his being knew this wasn't a battle he could win with anger. The boy's health, his son's life, was slipping away with every passing second. Maya's hands gripped the table, steady despite the storm before her. She spoke softly, every word deliberate. "Sir, I'm not here to challenge you. I'm only here to help your son. That's all." The CEO's eyes narrowed. For a moment, it seemed he might explode. But then, something shifted. He remembered the nights spent watching Ethan lie pale and silent in his room. He remembered the fear, the helplessness, the desperate prayers that no doctor or chef could answer. And for the first time, he saw the truth plainly. Money and power couldn't fix what love alone could. The mansion, filled with silver and gold, held its breath. The battle between pride and love teetered on a knife's edge. One decision, one choice, would decide the fate of the boy, the maid, and the man who had never been powerless before. But even as he opened his mouth to speak, the CEO knew this was only the beginning. The real test of trust, of patience, of family was yet to come. Would he accept Maya as part of the family, or would his pride destroy everything in its path? The CEO stood motionless, the room spinning around him. Every ounce of his pride urged him to strike, to fire Maya, to assert control. But beneath the rage, a deeper truth clawed at his chest. His son's life, his son's happiness, mattered more than any empire. Ethan watched him, eyes pleading, yet defiant.
the CEO, a man used to controlling every aspect of his empire, found himself watching Maya. The way she moved silently through the halls, how she cared for Ethan with patience and warmth, it pulled at something deep inside him. He tried to ignore it. He told himself it was admiration, respect, even gratitude. But when she smiled softly at him, something inside his chest twisted in a way he couldn't name. And Maya, she felt it too. The CEO's presence was intimidating, yes, but lately it had become different. Moments when he lingered in the doorway, watching her cook, watching her play with Ethan, those moments made her heart race in ways she hadn't expected. One evening, the mansion, quiet except for the soft hum of the chandelier lights, the CEO entered the kitchen. Maya was preparing a small dinner for Ethan, her movements careful, precise. He cleared his throat. "You've done more than I ever imagined for my son, and for this house." Maya looked up, startled by the softness in his tone. His usual harshness was gone, replaced by something unspoken, almost tender. "Sir, I'm just doing my job." But her voice wavered. She felt the heat rise to her cheeks. He stepped closer. "It's not just your job, Maya. I don't know how to say this, but I can't imagine this house, my life, without you in it." Maya's heart raced. She had feared his anger, his pride, even his power, but not this, not the vulnerability in his eyes. She stepped closer, their hands brushing accidentally, sending sparks through both of them. "You've given Ethan his happiness," she said softly, "and you've shown me a kindness I never expected. I care for you too.
For the first time, the CEO felt truly seen, not as a man of wealth, not as a ruler of empires, but as someone capable of love, capable of being loved. He took her hand in his, firm yet tender. Then let's face this together, all of it, as a family and more than that. Maya smiled, tears glinting in her eyes. The walls of pride, fear, and loneliness that had surrounded the mansion for years crumbled, replaced by warmth, trust, and the promise of love. Ethan, who had been watching from the doorway, cheered, his small hands clapping. "Finally, you two!" he exclaimed. And so, in the mansion of one of the richest men in the city, a humble maid had not only healed a boy's hunger, but also the heart of a father, and captured the heart of the man who had once thought love was a luxury he could not afford. In the end, it wasn't gold, nor silver, nor power that mattered. It was care, patience, and the courage to follow the heart.